I'll get you. She of the hunting variety. You shouldn't be putting out that good food. You can never get rid of her now. See, that's the problem. I ain't never had leftover ribs. Leftover rib bones. Yeah, okay, that I'll go with.
It's 2:30, so I'll call a commission meeting for Wednesday, June 14th to order. Would you, everybody please stand? I'll lead us in the invocation, and I've asked Commissioner Watson to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Our dear Heavenly Father, we just appreciate this day, appreciate the opportunity we have to live in such a beautiful community. We ask your guidance in this meeting, Father, and grant us wisdom. And just we thank you for all of our staff members, particularly those two that are going to be honored with plaques where they've been recognized for passing certain levels in their operation. We thank you for their interest in their work. And Father, we thank you for every one of our 165 employees and the dedication they show every day. Father, thank you for allowing us to serve the community. And ask this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Gentlemen, if I may, with Commissioner Neal on virtual, it's important for you to speak into your microphone so that he may hear you. Thank you.
We don't have any public comment. Employee recognition. The first one is Brian Savage. Brian and Derek. This is always a fun part we get to do.
That's right.
Congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
I understand you've been working with us about 6 months, right?
Yes, sir.
You like your work?
Oh, yeah.
Well, that's amazing. You've been working 6 months and you already got certified.
Thank you.
That's quite an accomplishment. I'll read it. State of Georgia Board of Examiners for certification of water and wastewater treatment plant operators and laboratory analysts certifies that Brian Lowe's Savage, having given satisfactory evidence of the necessary qualifications as required by the laws of the state of Georgia, has been duly certified as a water distribution operator in the state of Georgia. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Derek, can you tell us a little bit about Brian?
Brian coming here 7 months ago, right at 7 months. Come in and showed a lot of potential. Went ahead and got him through and got him set up in good class. Get his test done, he passed it. And his last couple of evaluations has all been pretty much exceeding standards. I mean, he's growing quick and he's learning it. A lot to pick up on.
What do you like best about your job so far?
There's a lot, really. I've never done a whole lot in this line of work,
Yeah.
and it's all real new, and really just, realizing what it takes to, keep the water going, and, wastewater, any kind of water, but there's a lot to it. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, you were part of the crew that was out all Christmas weekend?
No, sir.
Oh, okay. I thought I knew one of the new guys was. I thought it was you.
No.
Yeah. So one of the guys that started in November got the real eye-opening experience of the frozen weekend.
I think we know. Can we get our picture here? Come on, Derek. Angela?
Don't start.
Angela's been with us over 9 years, and she's kind of the jack of all trades. I don't think you got any water distribution testing.
Not yet, but we're gonna start that very soon.
Well, tell us about the other certifications you have.
I have a Class 1 wastewater operator license since 1995, and I have a South Carolina Physical Chemical Class A wastewater license, and the other license is under that. I had collection, lab analyst in the Class 3 and 2, but the one supersedes all of those, so this was the last one for wastewater in Georgia.
Have we ever thought about having Angela teach how people that study for these exams?
We were actually having that conversation not 10 minutes ago, so,
And we have talked about it.
She's passed already.
she's the expert.
Well, she learned some of the shortcuts.
I did just order some books today too, to help with the study guides and stuff for some of these guys.
Yeah. Let me read this. State of Georgia Board of Examiners for certification of water and wastewater treatment plant operators and laboratory analysts certifies that Angela Gladys Walker, having given satisfactory evidence for the necessary certificate as required by the laws of the state of Georgia, has been duly certified as a wastewater treatment operator in the state of Georgia, dated 15th day of June 2023. Congratulations.
Okay.
Tell us what a wastewater industrial operator does.
The industrial operator is actually the ones who operate the pretreatment plants and industrial facilities like GP that dump straight into the ocean and into other places. The industrial operator is the one who actually is over those facilities. I regulate those facilities for joint water that dump into our sewer lines, so it was just the next logical step. The Class 1 actually covers industrial, so it's not just a necessary thing, but it is specialized. So because you get into a lot of categorical chemicals and solvents and that type of thing that's not normally in sanitary sewer.
But you like grease traps too, don't you?
Did he go there? Did he go there?
Aren't you like grease trap lady?
I am. I sure am. At oil water separators and hair traps and lint traps and the dental amalgam rule and
All the
marble
specialty
cutters
equipment.
and- yes,
So you could teach us commissioner something, couldn't you?
I could. I'm actually preparing a class now for SSO for our collections and wastewater people. That was requested by the EPD. So
Well, I can say I've seen Angela make just 4 presentations, both at national conferences and local conferences. So she does a good job representing joint water and sewer.
thank you, sir.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Committee updates, we had a facilities committee meeting just before this one. At that, we approved a change order for Dunbar Creek, which we'll be discussing in a few minutes. Also, we approved contract for groundwater storage rescreening, and we also had dedication of private infrastructure and easements. All of those were approved. We also had project reports. The project's going on schedule. We've got a lot of things going on right now. And we also have several projects that are going to be out for bids in the next 2 months. So we're moving ahead with a lot of things. We see in the project thing, it's amazing looking at some of these meters where we have roots around them and around some of the galvanized pipes and all. It's just amazing what our staff is doing in improving our system on a daily basis. Now we'll move into the approval section. We got the minutes from the May 18th, 2023 regular commission meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
Second.
Motion and second. Any questions or comments? All in favor?
Just a reminder, Mr. Chairman, we got a call for Commissioner Neal's vote.
Commissioner Neal? Okay, motion carries 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to
Do
nothing.
we want to do excused absences for Commissioners Roll and Strickland?
I'll make a motion that we excuse absences for Commissioner Roll and Commissioners
Strickland.
Strickland, I'm sorry.
Have a second?
Second.
Motion second, all in favor? Commissioner Neal? Motion carries 5-0. Next item is the fiscal 2023-2024 rate resolution. Mr. Burris.
I'm gonna turn this one over to Mr. Owens.
Good afternoon. Each year, the Brunswick-Glynn Joint Water and Sewer Commission reviews the resolution previously passed by the board to document rates associated with rates and fees associated with JWSC's products and services that we provide to our customers. This is called the rate resolution. This document is public record and made available to any interested parties via our website, or we also will provide printed copies upon request. The attached red line rate resolution for the coming fiscal year sets forth the rates and changes necessary to support the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2024, and the budget that we have proposed. There are only a few changes to the rate resolution this year. Number one, the 25-cent rate increase on sewer usage over 1,000 gallons per month, which the board approved at last month's meeting. Number two, industrial fees for biochemical oxygen demand, BOD, and total suspended solids, TSS, have been adjusted using the same formula and process that we've used in the past, which is to average the past 3 years, or rolling past 3 years cost for those items. And on Appendix A, page 2 of 3, we've added verbiage regarding customer requested relocation of water meters, and that is to be at cost instead of a flat fee. The reason, of course, being costs can vary considerably if they're requesting to move a meter a few feet versus 20 or 30 yards. At this time, the staff requests that the Brunswick-Glynn Joint Water and Sewer Commission Board approve the attached rate resolution for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2024.
Can I have a motion?
I'll move that the Brunswick-Glynn Joint Water and Sewer Commission approve the attached rate resolution for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2024.
Second.
Motion and second. Any questions or comments? Hearing none. All in favor? Commissioner Neal? Motion carries 5-0. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item is health insurance annual renewal.
Yes, sir. With us today, we have Katina Tyndall from First Coast Benefit Solutions. She is our consultant that helps us go through the health insurance and dental, vision, and life and disability insurance renewals each year. Our insurance year is August 1st through July 31st, so we bring this to you at the June meeting so that we have time for employees to make open enrollment elections and get new insurance cards created prior to August 1st.
Great, thank you so much. You all have this in your packet. This is not an eye exam or a vision exam for the commission today. I apologize, and the size of the screen is certainly doesn't make it easy to read. I had about a 45 minute presentation. I have been given 5 minutes. So know that while this will be very quick, that is not to limit any of the questions, comments, concerns that you may have. So please reach out to me if there is anything that I can do for you. As you know, we all work with the leadership team in the behind the scenes before we present here. So while it is very quick, it is something that we have done the work on the back end. On your slide that you see here, this is the actual renewal piece, but I just want to give you a quick background. This year we have the 2023 renewal. As you know, we actually went to self-funded in 2020, and since then we have saved on average about $500,000 plus a year. This will not be one of those years. This year the claims are heavy, they are plentiful, and while we knew each year we were waiting for the claims to catch up, this is the year. So this year we are hitting close to max. But even then, we are still better off than we were back in 2018 in regards to self-funding. So it's still the right move for the commission and for the staff, but it is a higher claims year. Fortunately, in our analysis, we see that they're one and done type things, something that will not be repeated or ongoing in many cases. And so the hope is that we'll see a more settled claims year next year. So looking at this second slide, you'll see the current, the renewal, and the alternative. We did receive a heavier renewal on the fixed cost. We were able to go back and negotiate once we evaluated some of the medical conditions that should be adjusted. And so this is the best and final at the bottom, or at the renewal. And you'll see that essentially you're spending $686,193 on fixed cost. It was going, or is going, to $718,705. And you have the option of moving the individual stop loss to $100,000. So the question you'll ask is, well, how many claims have we hit that were over the individual stop loss of $75,000? And that chart is to your right. You'll see there were 5, 4 of which are over $100,000. So that gives you sort of an idea as to if you had a $100,000 individual stop loss today, you would have hit 4 of those. In doing so, you're going to save about $93,000 immediately in fixed cost, and your worst case scenario is that $2,453,909 versus the $2,417,245. So the difference in the max cost is less than what you're actually going to save by the fixed cost. So that is certainly something to consider. And that's why we started with a $50,000 individual stop loss and incrementally have moved it up. And so far that's been a success.
Where's the number you said that exceeded that number?
Yes, sir,
I don't
that
see that on a chart.
the exceeded number for the,
It's the
On the-
8 months
in the-
claims to the right.
The light box on the right side,
Okay.
those are the different.
so you have the 3 columns, the current, the renewal, and the alternative. Yes, sir.
Okay.
And so then moving on to the next page, and then we'll kind of wrap it up. As you know, you have Teamwork Services, that is your outsourced human resource company. And so you have a team of specialists that all work in their respective areas, and one of those is benefits administration. So we have Vanessa Shearer here. She is the benefits manager, and employees are able to go to her and do often, and her team to confidentially go over claims, questions they may have. Sometimes they come in with their mail opened, sometimes not opened, and they go over all of that with Vanessa, and she spends the time, again, with her team taking care of that. And one of the things that we have found is that the dental is somewhat insufficient. So as we made note of that, we shopped that out this year and looked at some alternative plans. We shopped many carriers, and we also went back to our current carrier, Anthem Blue Cross and Blue Shield, and requested a richer benefit. Right now, the max benefit for the dental plan is $1,000 per person per year, which I don't know when the last time you went to the dentist. $1,000 doesn't get you very far. And so we have found that some of the employees have unfortunately reached that max very quickly in the year and had no further dental benefit. We've stayed with Blue Cross and Blue Shield because the rate has stayed the same, but the value is just not there. So the low and best bid was from Principal Insurance Company. And while you see that the employee, spouse, and family rates are a little higher, the employee-only rate is very, very, very minimal, and it is a $2,500 max per year.
And they're gonna bump the usual and customary from 80 to 90%?
Yes,
Okay.
the
so
usual and
that's-
customary is also bumped, so when someone goes out of network in our particular area, we are not a metropolitan area, and so many of the dentists do not participate in the network. And so people are most of the time out of network, and then when it's paid at 80th percent, usual and customary, that just means based on what they think it should cost, that difference is balance billed to the employee. So essentially, they're gonna pay more towards the bill and a higher.
That's great.
Yes, sir. And then we also looked at all the other lines of coverage, and vision came back about half the cost for the single rate. And the other lines of coverage were actually less expensive with Anthem Blue Cross and Blue Shield. So we went back to Blue Cross and said, we want to leave you for this, and we'll keep this. And so we have negotiated being able to do that. And so we'll talk a little bit more when Mr. Burrows gets to his recommendations. But we do think that the move for the dental and the vision would be beneficial to the employees. We also received a request to look at some additional life insurance. During COVID, there were a lot of discussions when life insurance was paid out for employees that sometimes the life insurance was felt to be inefficient or insufficient, I should say. And so the current plan is 1 times annual salary up to $100,000, and it's $1,734.71 a month. You can move to a 2 times annual salary up to $150,000 for $28.16 a month, or 3 times salary up to $150,000 for $35.14 and change a month, or all the way up to a flat $250,000, which is a significant jump. But we wanted to just show this to you for your consideration and discussion, as it was requested of us, to see what your thoughts were as far as the life insurance was concerned. So if an employee makes $32,000 a year, their life insurance policy is for $32,000.
Just for transparency, that was my request, that we look into that, so.
From a staff perspective, after speaking with Ms. Tyndall and Teamwork Services, we feel comfortable recommending going that stop loss up to $100,000. It's gonna, this year would have cost us $100,000 extra in claims because 4 people hit it, but we're gonna save 93 right off the bat. So going to $100,000, we get the lower fixed cost, and if we don't have the claims year we had this year, we get the savings on the back end of having the lower fixed cost.
The one thing I think is important is that I don't know that everyone understands what stop loss is. And essentially, it's a policy that we're purchasing so that we have a maximum amount of money we pay out. And after that, that policy, the insurance policy actually pays that. And we not only have that for individuals, but we have that as an overall. Because I know one of the employees approached me with that question. How does it we can, do that? And so that's an important thing. The other important thing here is that I sat and calculated the cost of average cost of insurance premium increases in the United States in the last 4 years, and it comes out to 24%. And when you think about the fact that we're right around where we were 4 years ago, and everyone else is almost 25% higher, it's pretty astonishing that how successful this has been. And we certainly encourage employees to participate and get the screenings they need and stay healthy. And I just wanted to kind of throw that out because I think it's interesting information of how successful this has been and how it has actually saved money without cutting the benefits for our employees, which is also real important for them.
Absolutely. The other thing I will remind the commissioners of is we reimburse 75% of the deductible. So when you see a $1,500 and $3,500 deductible, you're reimbursed 75% of that as an employee. 1 per family. Unfortunately, if you have 4 people in the family hit it, we're only going to reimburse 1 of them, but you get up to 75% back. On the dental and the vision, staff recommends moving forward with the change to principal insurance, the 2.5 times the total insurance value for if you have both dental and vision, an actual reduction in your deductions each paycheck. So if we can get 2.5 times the insurance for less money, that sounds like a good win for our employees. And then based off the factors that we talked about with life insurance, the sweet spot appears to be the 3 times salary up to $150,000 for each employee. That will increase what we're paying, JWSC is paying for employee life insurance by $21,355 a month. However, that appears to be a good benefit we can provide for our employees for a relatively low amount of money. And so we recommend doing that. And on the employee health insurance, we recommend maintaining employee deductions at the levels they've been at since we've went to self-funded.
Correct.
So this will be the 4th year.
Correct.
There we have not adjusted their employee deduction for their paycheck every 2 weeks.
So for clarification on the motion, you've got, what is the proposal is for dental, you got the proposal for vision. The proposed is kind of on top of the 150, so that certainly makes sense. On the health insurance, we're proposing the alternative, right?
The alternative to $100,000 on the stop loss, that is correct.
So just for transparent, and I'll make the motion that we made, I move that the Brunswick-Glynn Joint Water and Sewer Commission renew the employee insurance coverages to be effective August 1st, 2023 as proposed and presented with the selection of the alternative renewal on healthcare insurance.
That's correct.
Second.
Motion second, any questions? Explain the life coverage, Andrew. We're increasing that.
Yes, sir.
And what do we, and you said $21,000 a month is what it costs them?
A year.
No, a year.
Yep.
For an increase of $21,000 for the year, we can provide all of our employees, this does not cost the employees any money, up to 3 times their salary in a life insurance policy, up to $150,000.
Currently, it costs us $1,700 a month.
So
We
it's
give them one time.
essentially, we can double what we're paying each month and get 3 times the insurance.
Okay. Any other questions?
Which has got to be a big retention thing.
Yes,
It might
it-
not be a big recruitment thing to have that life insurance, but once somebody realizes that's a benefit, they
And-
leave. I mean, that's got to be.
And unfortunately, we have had, in the 5 years I've been here, 3 employees that have passed away working for us. So
Yeah.
it's sad to say that we've had to use these policies, but we have used these policies to help families of staff members that have deceased while working for us.
Do we have additional accidental benefit insurance?
It's included.
It's included.
Yes, sir. Mhm. So it would be double that amount.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Hearing none, all in favor? Mr. Neal? Commissioner Neal? Aye. Motion carries 5-0. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
All right,
Ms.
thank you.
Tittle. We appreciate all your information and
Oh,
your
I
hard work
appreciate
on
it.
this.
One more thing.
Okay.
Okay. Each year, we have talked about the strategy for wellness and what is coming next. And so, Mr. Burrows and Mrs. Roberts have come up with a strategic plan, a long-term plan for wellness, and we are all working as a team on that. One of the things that we've talked about quite a bit is charging employees for tobacco use. In doing so, giving them ample time in advance of what that charge might be has been a discussion for the commission. We sort of delayed that during COVID because there were so many things going on, but it has been discussed to propose employees paying $25 more per pay period, which would be $50 a month if they use tobacco products beginning August 1st of 2024. So the employees would be given a year in advance notice, and Teamwork Services in their face-to-face enrollment meetings will be talking about the tobacco cessation programs that also include the patch and some other things. And so that is something that has been discussed, and I am just putting that forward. So, okay,
Thank you.
thanks.
As it relates to that, I'd rather see Joint Water and Sewer pay somebody something if they do it, rather than, rather than just don't pay somebody if they don't. Rather than duck. But anyway, that's just a comment.
We'll talk offline because I'm not sure I understand what you're talking about there. Don't add text. That's not what I wanted to do at all.
Okay, change order number 3, Dunbar Creek.
Yes, sir. As discussed this afternoon at the Facilities Committee meeting, we have went out for our design build contractor, BRW Construction, to consider the addition of a third secondary clarifier at the Dunbar Creek facility. This would be an 80-foot clarifier in an open field currently adjacent to the existing clarifiers. Also included in this proposal is the cost to increase the partial flume, which is the measurement device we use on the effluent flows, and permitting to take the treatment capacity at Dunbar Creek from the current 4 million gallons per day to 5 million gallons per day. The cost to install the clarifier, which is the overwhelming bulk of the cost, and the flume and permitting is $3,788,912. This would extend the contract until March 31st of 2024. The existing contract is on schedule to be completed by the end of September, so it's about a 6-month adder to the contract in order to install this clarifier. We have the contractor on site. This does follow all open book pricing for design build projects, so we get all of their invoices and we have an agreed upon markup and overhead charge associated with all materials and labor for this contract. You'll see in your packet it says extra items. Staff is recommending we forego those extra items. Those costs are exceeding our budgetary amounts for these contracts, and also can be delayed to a later date without negatively impacting the project. We may
look at getting somebody else in or doing that internally in the next couple of years. But for today, the recommendation is just that top two items, item 1 and 2, at $3,788,912.
I'll move that the Brunswick-Glynn Joint Water Sewer Commission approve change order 3 in the amount of $3,788,912 to BRW Construction Group LLC for scope changes associated with the Dunmar Creek Water Pollution Control Facility Rehab Project. And I'll just add that this is a GMP project, so this is gonna be built at actual cost.
That's correct.
Not a lump sum change.
They give you an estimate of what it's going to take on all the additional pages.
I'll second the motion.
There's a motion second. Any questions? Comments? Hearing none. All in favor? Commissioner Neal? Motion carries 5-0. Thank you. Next item is contract award ground storage tanks rescreening.
Yes, sir. We operate 15 ground storage tanks for water storage. Once it comes out of a well, they then use high service pumps to pull the water from the water storage tank before distribution. During an inspection by Georgia EPD and US EPA doing a joint inspection, the regulatory agencies identified that 11 of our facilities need a smaller mesh screen around the aerators. They have aerators on top of the ground storage tanks, and the mesh screening prevents vectors from getting onto those trays. The current size mesh we have at these 11 is 20 meshed. The new minimum standard is 24 mesh. I will note these sites all met minimum standards at time of construction, and this is an updated minimum standard. We are also required to put screening inside overflow vents. We have existing valves at the end, flapper valves at the end of those, but they are requesting, per the new minimum standards, screening at the overflow vent. We got a price from Crom, who is a manufacturer of pre-stressed concrete tanks, and they're the company that have installed the most of our recent ground storage tanks, not all of them, because some of these were installed prior to Crom being in existence. But the request is to allow them to do these 11 facilities, and that is a total cost of $92,228. For your information, a number 24 mesh screen has an opening of 0.0277 inches in a grid, which according to US EPA will remove no-see-ums. So it's a very fine mesh screen that we're required to install on these aerators. So $92,228. And this was presented and passed by the Facilities Committee.
Do I have a motion?
I'll move that the Brunswick-Glynn Joint Water and Sewer Commission approve a contract award in the amount of $92,228 to Crom Coatings and Restoration LLC for the rescreening of aerators and overflow vents at ground storage tank sites noted.
I'll second the motion.
Motion second. Any questions? Hearing none. All in favor? Commissioner Neal? Motion carries 5-0. Next item is dedication of private infrastructure and easements. Mr. Klein.
All right, good afternoon, Commissioners. And I will make note that these 4 items were covered in detail in the Facilities Committee meeting, so I will just go over these briefly and concisely. The 4 items, first one is Settlers Cove Phase 1. That is a dedication of infrastructure and also an easement of a residential subdivision off of Glendale Drive. The second one is Major Wright Sewer Extension, which was a privately developed parcel on St. Simon's Island off Major Wright Road to extend a force main for sewer connection for new home construction, individual residences. Number 3 is Friendly Express, number 71, a convenience store that was constructed about a couple of years ago at the intersection of State Route 303 and US 341. And this is an easement now dedicated to us to help clean up that and close that project out. And the 4th item is with Heritage Christian Academy. Linked to number 3 project was an easement that allowed us to install that force main outside of the DOT right-of-way on their property. So the associated items are contained afterwards. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Can I have a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I'll move that the Brunswick-Glynn Joint Water and Sewer Commission approve these projects with associated dedicated and easement.
Second.
Motion is second. Any questions? Hearing none. All in favor? Commissioner Neal?
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that we move executive. We need to have an executive session, so I'd like to make a motion that we move that to next ahead of the discussion on the agenda, so that we can accommodate the virtual, the reason be for property reasons, and, so that way we can accommodate Mr. Neal virtually, and also I have a hard stop, so in order, the interest of maintaining a quorum for all the executive session, I'd like to.
Can I have a second?
I'll second that motion.
Motion second. All in favor? Commissioner Neal?
And Commissioner Neal, we're just gonna ask you to mute your mic and we'll call you from the executive session.
Yes. Got to have a motion to adjourn for executive session.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Come out of executive session.
I'll second the motion.
Motion second, all in favor? We're back in the regular
Commissioner
session.
Neal,
You vote to come out, Wayne?
you're muted, sir.
He abstained.
Call him back.
Can he abstain?
Do I call him?
Wayne, can you hear us? You're muted if you're talking.
Commissioner Neal, do you vote to come out of executive session?
Yes,
All right, y'all heard that. Commissioner Neal votes to come back to executive
Yes.
session. Thank you, sir. Appreciate your time today.
Thank you.
all right.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is discussion financial statements. Ms. Wilson?
Chairman, I need to excuse myself. We're done with it,
Okay,
with the, voting portion. Yeah. Thank you.
congratulations.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. The item before us is the financial statements as of May 31st, 2023. We don't have many talking points. As you notice, there's not too many color coding, too much color coding on this. We're on a good glide path for year end. Just a couple of little things on our balance sheet. The bond sinking fund, we did make payments for both bonds on June 1st, so you'll see that reflected in the June 30th statements. Our accounts receivable is $100,000 less than it was this time last year. And no splost receivables yet, but we're expecting that check anytime, those checks to start arriving. Does anyone have any questions on the balance sheet, page 1 or 2? Moving on to page 3, our summary revenue. Noted on the left-hand side in blue are the percentages we're using for the allocations. For revenues, sewer at 91.23, water 90.67, or I'm sorry, 64, debt charges 92.26, and administrative 92.30.
Now, is that the percent of revenues of what? we-
That's for a 5-year average percentage of revenues collected each on average because we know we have more water revenue, for example, in May and June because people are watering their grass and we have more folks in town than we do in, say, January. So it's not a 1/12 allocation.
Okay.
Are we gonna meet budget in the end of June?
Yes, sir.
Yes. We're currently 1.9 million over our projected budget.
Okay. And what's that mainly from, what revenue?
A couple of things. We did very well on our interest so far.
Yes, interest rates are up.
Which has helped out. And then water revenues are higher than projected with the rate increase, and the sewer revenues, the industrial surcharge is much higher than it had been in past years.
Yes. And we did have a few of the new meters. We have about
And source,
two-thirds of
yeah,
our
new meters
meters.
going in the ground, new customer base, the new meters replacing the meters that were zero reading. It's all,
We've gotten more efficient.
we've gotten more efficient, yes, sir.
Yes.
Good.
The net operating revenue is 799,630. Revenue before capital fees, 409,000. Our capital tap fees, a little over 2 million. We are about 500,000 less on capital tap fees. New taps this year than we were this time last year.
What page you on?
Page 3.
3. Down towards the bottom there. Capital improvement fees and the capital fees.
Any questions on page 3? On to page 4, expenses by division. Not a lot of talking points here either. Our purchase orders are 1.2 million. And please note that some of these POs are based on contracts that span 2 years, part of this year, part of next year. So on June 30th, those purchase orders will roll forward. We'll do that about the end of August after all the invoices are in for this fiscal year. We'll roll anything else over to the new fiscal year.
We try not to roll them forward, but sometimes we order stuff and it takes 8 months for it to get
Yes.
here.
So, operating expenses, we're over the projected budget by 1.175, and again, those POs play a part into that. Any questions on expenses? On to page 5. Supplemental schedule of cash balances. We are still in the midst of our migration from our Truist accounts to our Synovus accounts. Our overnight cash, that does encompass both Truist and Synovus. Not a lot of talking points on our cash statement. On the bottom of page 6, you'll see our total with a summary there of our cash, the electives, and our legally restricted reserves.
Now, Mr. Owens, you had said the other day that our composite interest rate had increased. Do you remember what that number was?
Yeah, we're currently, our investment portfolio is yielding 3% overall. The money market mutual fund on that investment account is currently yielding 4.9%.
Great.
Any questions on our cash balances? On to page 7, our project report. And I know y'all got an update in the facilities committee on the cash projects, or the project report. At the bottom, we do have our construction in progress total of $25,620,189.99. That's a total of all of our projects that are ongoing. Our total expenses for fiscal year 22-23 is $12,686,872.
That's gonna go up. I got an invoice for Dunbar today.
Yes. And that does include open projects. That total of 12.6 does include open projects and those projects that have been capitalized this year, and that was the portion that was actually incurred this year. On page 8, you'll see the breakdown of the expenses in red there on the middle section, according to funding source. The R&R, almost 2.4, capital improvement, funding source, 252,000, SPLOST, 20,000, GFA projects, both the meter project and the Academy Creek, 6.8, and our bond projects at 3.1. Any questions or comments? Okay, that's all I have.
Thank you, as usual.
Andrew, what's the rest of the GFA project going toward?
4,002 CIPP.
$8 million?
It's like 4 million. The balance of that is also the meter project.
Okay. Executive Director's update.
One thing I have is a brief update. We had our town hall meetings last week. A lot of staff members joined us to answer questions, had a couple of interested citizens there. So we fulfilled those obligations and were able to get our message out for this year. And looking forward to starting the new fiscal year July 1st. So that is all I have today.
Any commissioners have anything?
Nothing for me.
So far as our update, I went to the town hall meeting, and after listening to two of them, I could almost repeat it. But Andrew had to do it 4 times. And so, LaDonna, do you want to give us a summary of what he said?
You know, the thing about it is I would leave out the fun facts that he was able to share with us all.
Yeah.
How many blue whales this equates to, how many space shuttles this equates to, how many cups of Starbucks coffee. And to me, those are the hooks. So I would not want to
I will say, I'm not the only one that does that. This weekend, I went down to Canaveral and went to the Kennedy Space Center, and they were talking about the number of ping pong balls that would fill up one of their buildings, so I'm not the only one that does that.
Well, I can show you a text where Commissioner Stevens disagreed with you on one of them.
That's all right.
Is that surprising? Anyway, I just want to say we've had a good year, and we're gonna finish it in the red, black, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah, we will, 100%.
All right. Anything else? Can I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second?
All in favor? Meeting adjourned.